Hello students, myself Kabir. So now I will teach you the topic refraction of light. So first I will clear the basics in refraction. Then so this session will be really useful. So if you are preparing CBSE 10th board exams in coming days. Okay, so let me start with the topic refraction. So in the previous section we discussed about the reflection of light. So we know that reflection is the phenomenon of bouncing back of light. Okay, and that only one medium is required for the reflection to take place. And here I'm going to explain refraction. So basically refraction is a property of two media. So for the refraction to take place, two medium is required. For example, if the ray of light is passing from air to air, so we can say the ray of light is traveling from air to air, there is no bending of light. But if it is traveling from air to some other medium, we can say there is a change in direction of light. This change in direction of light is called refraction of light. So we can see two ray diagrams here. First part, a part of it, minute section is reflected. So I am not considering these sections. I am talking about only the refracted rays. So when a ray of light is incident on it, majority of the ray will pass through the medium, and this property is called refraction of light. What is refraction of light? It is the change in direction of light when it passes from one transparent medium to another transparent medium. So now we have a few basic rules in refraction. The first rule is the incident ray, the refracted ray and the normal all will be in the same plane. It is the first law of refraction. And if you talk about the second law, that is it is based on experiment actually, and that is called Snell's law of refraction. So the second law of refraction is stated as the ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence. So here we can say this is the angle of incidence I, and this one is the angle of refraction R. So the ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence to the sine of the angle of refraction is a constant. That is sine I divided by sine R is equal to constant. That is equal to refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So what is the statement? The ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence to the sine of the angle of refraction is a constant. So now we can define refraction of light. So it is the change in direction of light when it passes from one transparent medium to another transparent medium. Then we have the laws of refraction, already explained it. First law of refraction is the incident ray, the refracted ray and the normal all will be in the same plane. And second law of refraction, this is basically called Snell's law of refraction. It is experimentally stated by Snell. So the second law of refraction is called Snell's law of refraction. So the ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence to the sine of the angle of refraction is a constant, and that constant is called refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So now we have the definition for refractive index. Refractive index is defined as the ratio of the speed of light in the first medium to the speed of light in the second medium. So n is equal to C upon V, where C stands for speed of light in vacuum. Its value it is 3 into 10 power 8. So C is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, where V stands for speed of light in that medium. So if you talk about the relative refractive index, so we can say when the ray of light is traveling from the first medium having refractive index n1, second medium is having refractive index n2. So it is written as refractive index of the second with respect to the first n21 equal to speed of light in the first medium, ratio of the speed of light in the first medium to the speed of light in the second medium, that is V1 divided by V2. So n21 equal to V1 by V2. So what is n21? Also we can write n21 equal to n2 divided by n1. So it's very important equation, these three. So first I told you, for absolute refractive index, if the first medium is vacuum or air, the refractive index of the second medium is called its absolute refractive index. For the relative refractive index, ray of light will be traveling from So one transparent medium to another, it can be water to glass or kerosene to glass, whatever it is. Okay, so in that case we will use n to 1 refractive index of the second with respect to the first, which is equal to V1 by V2, or n to 1 also written as n2 by n1, where n2 is the absolute refractive index of the second medium, n1 is the absolute refractive index of the first medium. It will be more clear while doing some previous year's board questions, so after this theory section. Now I am moving on to lens. So lens is actually a transparent medium bounded by two spherical surfaces. So we have actually convex lens in syllabus and also concave lens in syllabus. So if you talk about the convex lens, you can see that, look, so first surface is like this and the second transparent medium is like this. So if you talk about the concave lens, so it is also bounded by two spherical surfaces. So this kind of lens is called a concave lens. It's a convex lens, also called a double convex lens, both sides is convex. And this one is a concave lens, also called a double concave. You can say both the sides is concave surface. So what is lens? Lens is a transparent medium. It is bounded by two spherical surface. So now, so we have a refraction which is taking place in a lens. Now we have a definition for convex lens and concave. If you talk about a convex lens, if the middle is thick and edges are thin, then it is called a convex. So in the case of convex lens, the middle portion is thick and edges are thin. And if you talk about a concave, middle portion is thin, edges are thick. So these are the two type of lenses we have. Now we have the definition for principal focus for convex lens and concave lens. In the case of convex lens, suppose it is the lens we have. So if you consider rays which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction we can say all will come to a point, and that is the principal focus of convex lens. So number of rays which is parallel to the principal axis after refraction converges to a point on the principal axis. This point is called the principal focus of convex lens. If you talk about a concave lens, so this is the concave lens. Here also we will consider many ray of light. If all the ray of light is parallel, they will diverge. So if we extend the diverging rays backward, we will get a virtual focus. So the number of rays which is parallel to the principal axis after refraction diverges from a point on the principal axis, and this point is called principal focus of concave lens. So in convex lens focus is real, and in concave lens focus is virtual. Also convex lens is a converging lens, but concave lens is diverging lens, which means in convex lens, if all the ray of light is parallel, converges to a point. In concave, if the ray of light is parallel, that diverges from a point on the principal axis. Okay. First of all, we have the relation connecting observed distance, image distance and focal length. That relation for mirror, it is 1 by f equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u, where f is the focal length of the mirror, and v is the image distance and u is the observed distance. And if you talk about a lens, the relation is 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u, where f is the focal length of the lens and v is the image distance and u is the observed distance. And then after that we have equation for magnification. So magnification, which is defined as the ratio of height of the image to the height of the object. What is magnification? It is defined as the ratio of height of image to the height of the object. The value of magnification will give you clear-cut idea about the mirror or the lens. For example, if the magnification is more than 1, we can say the height of the image is enlarged, and if it is less than 1, it is diminished. If the magnification equal to 1 means, so object height equal to image height. The magnification of lens or mirror will give us clear-cut idea about how much an image is magnified or diminished. Okay, so magnification is very important for board questions. So we can say for mirror it is defined as hi by ho, height of the image to the height of the object, also written as minus v by u for mirrors. And if you come to the lens, the statement, the definition is same, hi divided by ho ratio of the height of the image to the height of the object, and which is equal to plus p by u for lens. It's really important, this mirror formula and magnification. Okay, so these are the main relations we have. Also in the case of mirror, I told you the relation between focal length and the radius of curvature, f is equal to r divided by d. Okay, so now we have to apply the sign convention in the case of mirrors and lenses. So if you talk about sign convention, the first point is we have to select the origin for it, for a mirror or lens. If you talk about a mirror, what we can say, pole of the mirror is taken as the origin. And if you talk about a lens, which one is the origin? The optic center of the lens is taken as the origin. So we know that in maths, in normal Cartesian system, all the distances will be measured from the origin. So here also same thing applicable. If you start measuring the distances, towards left will be negative, towards right will be positive, and up will be positive, and down will be negative. Okay, so the main postulates in new Cartesian sign convention is, the first point is object should be placed always to the left side of the mirror or lens. Object is always kept on the left side. So if an object is placed on the left side, we can say a ray of light is traveling from left to right. Here also in the case of mirror, concave or convex, object should be placed always on the left side of the mirror. So object is always placed on the left side of the mirror or lens. So next point is, since object is placed on the left side, all the distances are supposed to be measured from the origin, from the pole in the case of mirror and from the optic center in the case of a lens. So if you measure distance from the origin, suppose an object is placed 10 cm away from the lens. So u value we should take it as minus 10. Okay, keep in mind what I told you. All the distances are measured from the pole of the mirror. Object is always placed on the left side. So object distance will be always negative in the case of mirrors and lenses. Why? Object is always placed on the left side of the mirror or lens. So u value will be always negative. They will give plus 20 centimeter or plus 30 centimeter. But we have to take it as minus 20 or minus 30. Why? Object is always placed on the left side. It is one of the very important information for mirrors and lenses. It is the area most of the students are struggling. So the point is, object distance is always negative, and we can be positive or negative depends on the situation. Got it? If the image is found on the left side, we will be negative, right? And if it is coming on the right side, we will be positive. Okay, so in the case of lens also, if it is coming on the left side, that will be negative, we will be negative. If it is coming on the right side, we will be positive. Hello students, now I will teach you how to draw image formations in the case of convex lens and concave lens. So similar to the concave mirror, in convex lens we have 6 cases. So these are the 6 cases. First case, object is at infinity. Second, object is placed beyond 2f1. Third, object placed at 2f1. And fourth, object placed between 2f1 and f1. And the fifth case, object should be placed at f1. Finally, object is placed between f1 and the optic center of the lens. So for all these ray diagrams, we are using again few basic rules. And the first rule is, if any ray of light is parallel to the principal axis, it passes through the focus after refraction. And the second one is, if any ray of light passes through the optic center, will go straight without any bending. It will not undergo any deviation. So if any ray of light passes through the optic center, it will go straight without any bending. And next is, if any ray of light passes through the focus after refraction, it emerges parallel to the principal axis. We basically using two ray of light. First is ray of light is parallel, passes through the focus. And here, if any ray of light passes through the optic center, will go straight without any bending. So first case we can say object is at infinity, all the ray of light is parallel to it. After refraction, all will meet at a single point, and that is said to be the focus. So when object placed at infinity, images formed at the focus, highly diminished and point seized. The second case, object is placed beyond 2f1. So as you can see, I will take two rays from the top. First, ray of light is parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it passes through the focus. If you take one more ray, passes through the optic center, will go straight, and at this point, these two refracted rays will meet, and the image is formed between C and F, or F2 and this C. So, or 2F2. So, image is formed between F and C. So, here image is actually diminished compared to the object. So, when object placed beyond 2F1, so image is formed between F and C, it is diminished, real, inverted. Third case, when object placed at 2F1, so first ray of light is parallel, passes through the focus. Second, if any ray of light passes through the optic center, will go straight without any bending. These two refracted rays will meet here, so that is coming at 2F2. So when object placed at 2F1, so image is formed at 2F2. So size is same, it is real and inverted. Fourth case, object is placed between F1 and 2F1. In this case also we are taking same two ray of light. First ray of light is parallel, passes through the focus. If any ray of light passes through the optic center, will go straight without any bending. So the refracted rays will meet here. So image is formed at this point. So we can say an object placed between 2F1 and F1. So image is formed beyond 2F2, that is real and inverted. And next case is fifth case, object placed at 2F1. So ray of light is parallel, passes through the focus. Second, if it passes through the optic center, will go straight without any bending. So these two rays after refraction emerges parallel to it. So image is formed at infinity. So when object placed at 2F1, when object placed at F1, so image is formed at infinity, highly magnified, real and inverted. Last case, when object placed between F1 and O, we can see ray of light which is parallel, passes through the focus. Second, if any ray of light passes through the optic center, will go straight. So these two refracted rays are diverging. So if we extend it backwards, we will get a virtual image on the same side of the object. So it is the only case in which a convex lens forms virtual image. So when object placed between F1 and O, image is formed on the same side of the object. It is virtual, erect and magnified. And keep in mind, so only convex lens forms virtual, erect and magnified image. Always for concave lens, so image will be virtual, erect and diminished. So that is the next point. So if we just talk about image formation in concave lens, only two cases we have. First, when object placed at infinity, so virtual image will be formed at F1 on the same side of the object. So when object placed between infinity and optic center, anywhere, it can be anywhere. So when object placed here, we can say first consider a ray of light which is parallel, it diverges because it's a diverging lens. Then if any ray of light passes through the optic center, will go straight without any bending. So these two refracted rays are diverging. So if you send it backwards, we will get the virtual image at this point. So in the case of concave lens, always image formed is virtual, always erect, always diminished, and always image will be either at F or between F1 and O. Okay, these are the image formations in the case of lenses.